You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, General Hospital fans, we have got Detective Harrison Chase determined to destroy Michael Corinthos' alibi, and that means he needs to discredit Jacinda Bracken and prove she was not with Michael at the time of the shooting. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to talk about where Jacinda was and who she was really with when Drew Cain was shot, because we all know she was not with Michael. But first, please hit subscribe if you aren't following us yet. So right now, Chase is busy investigating Willow's case in his free time, even though the PCPD has decided that Willow Tait is the shooter. Chase strongly believes that his ex-wife, Willow, is incapable of trying to kill somebody. Chase also insists that Willow's a good person and a loving mom and has no history of violence. Meanwhile, Chase knows full well that Michael does have a history of violence and he has killed someone before. If you recall, as a young man, Michael bludgeoned his stepmother, Claudia Zaccara, to death. But she had it coming, you know. Michael only did it to stop Claudia from kidnapping his baby sister, Jocelyn. Despite that, Michael was convicted and sent to Pentonville. Plus, he was raised by mobster Sonny Corinthos and exposed to violence his whole life, literally from the cradle, because his first surrogate dad was hitman Jason Morgan. So yeah, Chase thinks Michael is capable of shooting his Uncle Drew, and he also thinks Michael is capable of framing Willow. And at least half of that is true. So Chase made it his personal mission to get justice for Willow, even though his wife Brooklyn isn't happy about it. Neither's Dante, and some other people don't like it either that are close to him. Recently, Chase told Alexis that he's been digging into Michael's alibi, and she is happy about that. Chase is certain that Jacinda's lying to cover for Michael, and Chase suspects she was with another client when Drew was shot, and that means she cannot be Michael's alibi. Right now, Chase wants to find Jacinda's client and destroy Michael's alibi. That will take Willow from the top suspect that the PCPD has and force them to look at Michael. Because why arrange a fake alibi from ex-call girl Jacinda unless you're guilty, you know? I feel like Port Charles City Councilman and mayoral candidate Ezra Boyle is back on the GH canvas for a reason right now. And yeah, I know it's election time in Port Charles, and he and Laura are in a tight race, but I think there's more to him being back. I suspect Ezra is the one Jacinda was with when Drew was shot. So if you recall, when Jacinda first came on the General Hospital scene, she was introduced as Ezra's favorite escort. And that was back when Nina and Portia had the bright idea to hire Jacinda to drug Drew with ketamine and party with him in public. Jacinda had Drew doing body shots off of her while everybody was filming and snapping pics, and that resulted in tawdry headlines, as they hoped, but it eventually blew up in their faces. And since Jacinda was Ezra's favorite working girl, you know, he may be a little bummed that she quit being a call girl and took Michael's offer to work at Crimson Magazine, but I don't think that's enough for him to come clean, you know. But Ezra is the likely client that Jacinda was with, but exposing this would cause some big ripples. Since Chase is working so hard to find Jacinda's mystery client, I bet he's going to put the pieces together soon. I mean, if Chase mentions to Nina that he's trying to break Michael's alibi and is looking for Jacinda's client, you know, Nina might be able to help him out. Because I'm pretty sure that she knows about Jacinda and Ezra. So once Chase pulls that thread, it's all going to fall apart for Michael. Not only could Chase save Willow from going to prison for a crime she didn't commit, but Chase could actually save Laura's re-election campaign right as things are looking really dire for her. Recently, she skipped the mayoral debate because her grandson Rocco was arrested for breaking into Professor Dalton's lab. And you know Ezra is going to make a big deal of Laura skipping the debate to deal with her criminal grandson, who is also the grandson of crime boss Sonny. He'll make it look really bad, you know? So if Chase reveals that Jacinda was with Ezra when Drew was shot, Well, that should ruin Ezra's mayoral campaign because he won't have the excuse of being on ketamine when he was doing body shots and whatnot with Jacinda. So that means Chase may also actually save the day for Laura, and she'll be reelected as mayor. So that would kind of be Chase doing top-notch service for his community. And it would be ironic because it would be a bittersweet outcome for Drew. You know, a good news, bad news thing. Good news because Drew will be happy that Michael has no alibi for the shooting, and Drew can go ahead with falsely accusing Michael because he'll have no defense for where he was because he was right outside the house. Also good news because Willow would be off the hook, and that's what Drew wants. But it's also bad news for Drew because his sleazy pal Ezra Boyle won't be elected mayor and can't be Drew's local minion to do his bidding. But I'm betting that Drew would rather have Michael in prison and Willow exonerated than have the mayor in his pocket. Now, unless another hint is dropped, I feel sure Ezra is going to turn out to be the mystery client that Chase is looking for. The other day when Michael asked Jacinda if anybody can contradict her alibi for him, she looked a little squirrely, but she didn't say anything. And I do think that she lied to Michael. And Jacinda probably thinks it'll never come out because there's no way Ezra would confess and break her alibi that she's giving him, you know, because that would ruin his political career. And in fact, Chase may scare up some hard evidence, like catching Jacinda and Ezra on a surveillance camera, going into a hotel at that time, or going into his apartment, something indisputable because Ezra wouldn't cooperate. And of course, once Michael finds out what Chase is up to, their friendship may not survive because while I don't think Michael shot Drew, and I hope he doesn't go to prison for it, I think there's a good chance he is the one framing Willow. We'll see. Maybe Michael's just taking advantage of somebody else framing her, you know, but he's pretty smart, so he may have done the frame job, but I don't think he did the shooting. Brooklyn was worried that Chase was going to lose his job over this, but I mean, if Dante fires Chase for doing good police work, that would be bad optics, especially because Dante would look corrupt if he fired Chase for finding evidence that implicated his brother Michael. In the long run, I don't think Chase would lose his job. Even if Dante suspended him, Anna would probably undo that, and I honestly don't think Dante would punish Chase for doing good work. So Willow might end up cleared soon, and Jacinda might be outed as giving false testimony. However, that doesn't mean Michael will fire her from Crimson or stop seeing Jacinda. I think Michael legit likes Jacinda and doesn't care that she was a sex worker. Of course, that might not play well in custody court. Michael acted like he didn't care because he didn't think he'd be in custody court because Willow would be in prison convicted of shooting Drew. So he didn't think it would matter if he was dating an ex-call girl. But once Willow is cleared, which seems to be coming, then Michael's going to have to rethink the games he's playing, or else he may risk losing custody of his kids and his freedom. I mean, they arrested Nina for giving a false alibi to her daughter and then arrested Willow and charged her with shooting Drew. So realistically, if Chase breaks his alibi, then the DA and the PCPD would look corrupt if they don't turn around and arrest Jacinda for doing the same thing Nina did and charge Michael with attempted murder like they did Willow. This is about to get messy, y'all.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.